Hi, everybody. It is Thursday. And I know you're all tired of hearing me say that, but I'm going to keep doing it. So just embrace it. We are Trekker's Delight. I am here with long missing Manny Eunice, and Keith Shevlin. And I, of course, am Marie Brownhill. And we are going to be talking about the 8th episode of Star Trek Picard's 3rd season, Surrender. Much has happened. Much will happen. It was a really busy episode. That's some good, some bad. There, unfortunately, were none of these, but we work with what we've got.
There was so much in this episode, we couldn't have handled any Orions. Except
That's not true. That's not true. There's always room for Orion slave girls. Okay. Always. But before we get into all of that, we are going to do our beautiful bean footage, shall we? All right, so we've had our beautiful bean footage, and I guess now we have to determine who's falling on the summary sword this week.
Must we torture Manny with it?
I'll tag team with you guys. I'll pop in when I can, but I am not prepared at all.
All right, then I will fall on that sword. I'm overdue, shall we say? I'm overdue.
Thank you, Marie.
So much has happened in this episode, and some of it good, some of it bad, as I said. But we're going to start with the big plot, right? Which is Vadic basically threatening everybody with murder and mayhem unless Jack Crusher surrenders himself. Basically, Jack's like, I'm going to give myself up. And Picard and Beverly are like, that's really stupid. And for the first time all season, Picard's correct. So everybody applaud.
Oh my God. Burn.
I have real thoughts.
Yeah.
I have real thoughts. So basically what they decide to do is they decide to let Jack use his magic new powers to try to infiltrate somebody on the bridge and then use Picard's magic God code to take over the ship because Vadic has effectively locked everybody out. There's no comms, there's no light. She keeps talking about it. I've taken your eyes and I've taken your ears. Man, Amanda Plummer was chewing through this scene like a wood chipper.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking Fargo, guys, like that level.
It's exceptionally well done.
Right. So she catches him, or rather she catches, the random dude he took over, and she's like, oh, you're coming into your powers the way you want you to. The way we want you to. Wow, words are hard. And, basically then she starts this countdown. I'm going to kill somebody every 10 minutes until you surrender yourself. And the first person she starts with is poor Ensign Tavine. Alas, we hardly knew ye. He starts to panic. They're like, no, don't do that. Sidney LaForge is like, I could maybe write his code in like a year, or my dad could do it in a month, but like we really need an AI that with massive computational capability. And everybody's like, I wonder what we have in the other room, ladies and gentlemen. So we do, in fact, go to the other room and we wake up Data. And we also bring down the partition that exists between Data and Lore. Lore starts to try to take over because Lore's a dick. And Data is like, oh, well, I have had everything and you have had nothing. Here's my cat. And Lore's like, oh, kitty. Just as Data manages to, backdoor himself into control over the body, gives his brother one last hug, and then basically is like, and eats him. So it's this weird sort of combination of the Cain and Abel myth versus like the Kronos myth. So it's weird.
Wow.
It's super weird. But that's when Data's like, I can take this over. Jack, toddle on up to the bridge. I need some time. So Jack toddles on up to the bridge. He's got this magic thing that looks like a bomb. And he looks at Vatic and he's like, I'm here. And she's like, awesome, we can go now. And he's like, nope, because I'm going to blow myself up.
Yeah, definite thermal detonator from Star Wars vibes.
I know, my God, it really was. And Vatic's like, well, that's bad. And so she starts grandstanding about how he's been lonely. Oh, so terribly, terribly lonely. And he's just starting to cry because that's apparently what we do now. But it's not Michael Burnham, so I guess it's okay. And, she's like...
There's an intimacy there. Yeah. There's an intimacy there. Something like she's speaking to and she knows too much.
I don't know that that's an intimacy so much as like she's pulling shit out of her ass. But, you're a much nicer human being than I am. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Basically, she locks all the remaining prisoners into the observation lounge / ready room, and Jack turns around and he's like, okay. And then Data takes over and Data blows the hatch on the bridge that we've never had before, but now we do. Jazz hands. So Vatic gets sucked out into space where she freezes, and then she crashes against the front grill of the Shrike and shatters into a million pieces.
And the device was actually a portable shield generator.
It was a portable force field that kept them all safe. Bye-bye, Vatic. Meanwhile, over on the Shrike, we have Deanna and Will who are reconnecting and having this whole conversation about what's been going on, which is basically that Deanna tried to fix Will. Will wasn't in a place to be fixed. And unfortunately, you can't actually hasten along the grieving process.
Yeah.
So there's that. They make up and they're hugging just in time for Worf to come and rescue them and then tell Deanna all about his personal journey, because that's apparently what Worf does now. He drags them down into the bowels of the Shrike and introduces them to Raffi. And Raffi's like, oh, I found out what they cut out of the corpse of Jean-Luc Picard. And it's all the brain tissue that was, warped by Irumodic syndrome. Wonder what that's about. But let's head on to our little cloaked shuttle. So they head on to the little cloaked shuttle. And they go back over to the Titan. And they look around and they're like, all of our friends are here. This is amazing. And then they basically sit down at a conference room. TNG vibes, anybody? Anybody? Yes? Yes? They sit down at the conference table and discuss what they're going to do about Jack. Because Deanna senses a darkness around and through that boy. I had a real moment with that too, guys.
Yeah.
I was just like, really? Really? This is where we're going? I guess it is. That's when Deanna sits down with Jack and is just like, so there's a door in your head. We should probably go through that. And Jack's like, but I don't wanna. It's locked for a really good reason. And Deanna's like, yeah, wow. We got this. I'll be there with you. Let's go find out what's in your head. And
Manny, don't go into the light. Manny, don't go into the light.
I know, Manny. Well, to be fair, Manny's in paradise, so he's already in the light.
Whoa, are you back from Bangkok now?
Oh. I'm going to take that as a no. But also, that's our summary. That's where we are.
No, I'm still.
And the Shrike was destroyed as well. They blew it up real good.
Yes, they do in fact have a wonderful moment where
you guys are getting like chunky.
So are you. You're looking remarkably pixelated. Are you feeling, 8-bit? All right. So anyway, 7 of 9 finally gets to tell Shaw where to shove it. Yes, we can. She finally gets the opportunity to tell Shaw where to shove it because he's like, Commander Hansen! And she's like, my name is 7 of 9!
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
And then he immediately turned around and called her Commander Hansen one more time.
But then he turns around and lets her blow up the Shrike. So, I mean, as far as apologies go...
Yeah, but there was the whole, you should have killed me when you had the chance.
Right, I'm going to skip over that because it was dumb. Yeah. And he didn't mean it.
Yeah.
There's no way he meant it. So, all right. Just to kick off the conversation, there are 2 things that I'm kind of meh on in this episode.
Okay.
The first is Data how many times is he going to be resurrected?
Mm.
I mean, like we've passed Spock now. We passed Cisco, who was literal Jesus.
Yeah.
So what are we doing with this? And the second is, I'm really tired of Star Trek Picard edging me. At a certain point, we've got to finish.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much we thought Vatic was about to say what Jack was last week, and no, she wasn't.
Mm-mm.
But now she's about to open that red door, but
she dies.
Yeah, but then he's about to open the red door and fade to black.
So yeah, no, I mean, and what's worse about this, I think, is, previously the cliffhangers kind of flowed. Y'all, words are hard today. It's been a very long day for Marie. Have flowed from the story and flowed from the action. The thing about this one is there wasn't really any purchase in appending that, I don't know, 10 minutes to the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Other than to create a cliffhanger.
Right. Which we didn't need. We already know. They already gave us that it is a cliffhanger. It's mere hours away from Frontier Day.
I know. We could have had a breather before going into the final 2 episodes of the season/series, but that's not what we're going to do. No. No. And, I don't know if y'all have ever had this experience where like you're so excited about something and so excited about something and so excited about something, and you've been waiting for so very, very long, and then you get there and it's not what you'd hoped it was. Because by that point, there is literally no way that it could possibly have met your expectations.
Yeah.
I'm a little afraid that Picard is about to cross that particular event horizon.
Yeah.
And that it's just going to, like, the whole thing is just going to sort of topple over the ravine, burdened by the weight of this, if I may steal the phrase, glorious purpose that we've been dealing with now for 8, 9, 10 episodes.
Right. It does feel like it's almost like we know the answer. We're not going to tell you. And even though this episode is very consequential, we're still going to make it feel like filler.
Yeah.
I mean, there's almost a writer nanny boo boo moment.
Yeah.
Because we're all adults, or at least I'm an adult. For a given value of adult.
Well, as you see, I took on the new beta said word that we learned
today. Yeah, I know. Baby of unusual size. I was like,
immense size.
Oh, right. I know, but like it's
It's
so close to this Princess Bride reference. I'm kind of disappointed that it's not.
Yeah. I'm guessing they didn't think of it that way, but they should have.
You say you guess they didn't think of it that way, but everything has been very, very specifically planned. And there's been so many references and allusions, not just to Star Trek canon, but to 13 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. I'm going to add a monkey because I can.
Okay. By the way,
I'm killing it today, guys.
By the way, in a TV series involving star type series, Nepenthe is a bad thing this week.
That's true.
Because it was a bad thing in Mandalorian yesterday, and today it turns out nobody likes Nepenthe.
I know. I loved it. She's like, I want to go back to the city. And I'm like, oh, Deanna, I feel you. I feel you so hard.
A woodpecker with 2 heads. Yeah, I mean, I've had a woodpecker at my house. 2 heads? No.
Like, how is the structure standing? Oh, I think we lost Manny. Oh, no. Yeah. How is the structure still standing? I don't know. And speaking of Nepenthe, where the hell's Kestra?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, clearly we remember she exists because there's a brief moment where Riker feels bad that if they die, there's no one for Kestra to go home to. But, like, where is she?
Well, she's got to be, 17, 16, 17 now?
I think it's probably closer to, like, 15.
Okay. But it's interesting the things that Deanna admitted that she did with the changeling replacement of Riker.
I don't think that was real.
You don't?
I don't. I think she literally was just like, because she follows that up later with a whole lot of I knew immediately that it wasn't you because, effectively it didn't feel right.
Mm.
So, I mean, you can't tell me that she would have eaten either pizza or slept with a man that didn't feel quite right.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'll admit I have made bad decisions along those lines, but I'm hoping that she had better life choices.
Hmm. Yeah, that seemed like a weird thing to admit, but it's right out there with Riker's.
No, I mean, I think she's needling Riker at that
No,
point. Like, I think that's exactly what's going
Can
on.
Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
And can you interject? Please do.
So my thought the whole time was that was a secret changeling. I thought when she was sitting in the prison, she was like trying to draw out information from Riker, and then was going to go back to whatever. I didn't realize. I didn't think it was Troy at all. I thought it was a secret changeling the whole time. So I was like, oh, okay, she's waiting, and then he's going to find her in a lie, and then confront her or something, and have like crazy Troy rage. That's what I thought was going to happen.
That would have been a very different show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they would have done that, I think, well, considering seeing how much hate Terry Matalas is getting on Twitter right now from Deanna fans for the fact that she's been very underused up until this episode, if she would have turned out to be a changeling,
we might have had riots.
We would have had riots, yeah.
Well, but the thing about that is like it's already in the bucket, right? Like it's already in the can. There's no changing it now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, riot or not, guys, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The problem is, and we've maintained that, I mean, throughout the whole thing, is that all of these newer shows are like 10 episodes, and we're used to these like 24 episode like seasons, like real Star Trek. So they've shaved off. Like,
I feel like that was a Freudian Manny reference.
What?
Real?
I didn't catch it. Oh, good point. That's true. I do compartmentalize in the sense that like I have not yet assimilated the newer Trek into like the part of my brain that feels the same comfort. When I go back and watch a TNG episode or DS9 or whatever, there is this familiar, wonderful, I don't know, soothing feeling that I get from that reliable, logical, rational, problem-solving kind of Star Trek. And the first time I got it in this whole season was when
Star Trek I did. Reliable and rational doesn't.
I loved it. Listen.
Oh no, I did too. Obviously,
I loved it. If I was, yeah. But you know that scene when they first walk into the ready room and with Data this time, and then they're all sitting around the desk or whatever. As they're going through the threshold of that ready room, that was the very first time I felt, oh, it's Star Trek again. That was the moment for me when they passed that threshold. I'm like, so much of like old Star Trek is just them entering rooms to have conversations. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah. Oh, a conversation.
That was the moment to breathe in this episode when they got around the table. Literally, us and them breathe.
Because it's been that intense.
Yeah.
And you're right, though, Manny. This is the episode I think that has felt the most like TNG. In both good and bad ways. On the one hand, I think we had some really amazing like story beats and a really great way of balancing necessary emotional developments with what was going on. I've also seen, some of those emotional, incredible moments get shortchanged the way it used to in the standard run.
Yeah.
And then we got that great sequence where everybody's sitting around the table, and I love that sort of moment between Troy and Crusher, though, like that palpable chemistry and excitement to see each other.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
What was nice is you had that moment of going, I haven't seen you in forever, between her and Crusher and between her and Worf. And Worf, excuse me, went right back into, I haven't seen you since we were de facto dating before. Except he has. It's just, he's in a different place now. So he's going to go right into talking about his journey as if this might be the thing that finally gets her.
And like Riker's over there in the corner like, hi, it's me.
Yeah.
Here.
Inappropriate.
That was funny. That was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
He's been like, but that was such a gushing, like when I saw that, right? That this episode for me is quintessential for bringing all those elements together. But when I saw that bit with Worf, I thought to myself, these are finally the actors like bringing to bear what they envisioned the like characters to be. Is like he always thought like Worf, the first thing he would do when he saw Troy would be to gush over his like emotional growth. Like that is, and he's just like, yeah, I need to be interrupted here because he's
Right.
gushing, which I
Yeah.
loved. I loved it.
Right.
It's true to form, actually. It's exactly how I would see Worf. Like now that they've written him in this way, like where he's like emotionally like advanced or whatever, I could see him wanting to gut the very first time he sees, hey, look at all this work I've put into myself. You know, like that's him gushing.
Like every
I
jilted
loved it.
ex-boyfriend trying to get the girl back. Yeah.
That's exactly what that was.
In front of their husband, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And well, but at the end of the day, I think that was just, I mean, that was a great way to play it for laughs. I have to admit, like I really did
He
enjoy
needed that.
I really,
Yeah.
because so much had happened, right? We had that, and we had that really intense sort of moment between Data and Lore, and I have to tell you that I thought I actually found that to be one of the more disappointing sequences in this episode.
Really?
I did, and I'll tell you why. Because of course I am. One, I think Brent Spiner. It's been a long time since Brent Spiner had to be two people in the same screen, and and as a result, I don't feel like he had the balance quite as well as he's done in the past. One. Two, so much is going on that particular sequence has to be shortened in order to fit in a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on in the episode. And what I found frustrating about that is it's such an important thematic part of the show.
True.
Because they're talking about what makes a good life. Is it memory? Is it power? Like, is it connection? And that's hugely important to what we're doing here, right? Like,
I agree completely. Yeah, you're right.
And we get maybe a minute of that, and it just sort of falls flat, especially when Lore disintegrates into the ether.
No, but I think he's a part of him now, the same way that like the daughter is and all that. Yeah.
Like I said, it's a creepy mix of the Cain and Abel myth and the Kronos myth.
Yeah, and just knowing what it was sandwiched between the whole Jack's on the bridge with his mock detonator, and so you're very tense in that moment, and we're breaking away for
Solo,
this mystical thing.
Good point. Yeah,
and I like the scene, but yeah, it was the way it was sandwiched into the episode, and it did feel both just right and not enough.
Yes.
I disagree with you both. I think it was fantastic. I loved every second of it. I love the idea of like the follow up to how Data works, how he could take on. Remember when his daughter was like dying and she took him on? He took her on inside of him and assimilated him and whatever.
Except
and
she's like, he's mentioned that this episode.
Yeah, well, she's a Soong. I don't know. I don't know how hand wavy, as Maurice would say.
You're not wrong, because I was literally about to be hand wave. Banny, we've been friends too long.
Oh my god! So, yeah, to me, it was quite edifying. To see Data as this more complete thing at the end or whatever, because really, we are a chorus, right? This comes back, of course, to the Carillion artifact or whatever, like that we're all like a community inside, and the idea of like the Soongs, and even then with the crystalline entity, right? Like back when that woman was trying to explore what it was like for him to take on all the colonists' like behavior and personality. Data's always been able to have all of these multiple like
he
things
contains
inside
multitudes.
of him. Yes, multitudes, correct. And sorry, I was trying to get to that. Like I didn't say that right. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate that. But what I mean is, it was incredibly.
Right. That's Walt Whitman, right?
I loved it. I thought it was, again, to your point about it being rushed or being it was so thematically important that, and I agree, Marie, that he didn't do it as well as he could have because he was playing opposite to himself. The first moment that he was Data instead of Lore, I didn't buy it. The very first moment, I was like, this doesn't feel right. It didn't hit right.
You're
And then
like,
I
this
had to
touches me
sort
in
of,
the doll, and I have to show you where.
yeah, it didn't feel right.
Hmm.
And can I just point out the incredible acting performance by one Mr. LeVar Burton in this episode? And just, and of course, the fact that here we are, now you really feel robbed of the 7 seasons that we didn't get to see his eyes with how expressive they have
Mm,
been just in these
good
past 3
point.
episodes.
Hmm. I know, like,
He's a
and that's phenomenal.
he
That's
is a good looking cat, I gotta say. I
Well,
enjoy
but
I enjoy seeing him. He's a good looking cat.
I know,
but
but
I love him.
there's this moment where he's like during that walk and talk sequence after like Data leaves the lab under his own power, or Data 2 point or Data 3.0 at this
yeah,
point, really. And Jordy's just like, I'm so glad to have my friend back. That
Yeah.
what he manages even behind those contacts is amazing.
yeah. And
So
there,
I
and
mean,
you could feel the 35 years of emotion in, I mean, that they, for being, I mean, yes, they're friends in real life, the actors,
I know, but
but
like, I don't know about you. Have you seen the YouTube sequences where they've been doing the sort of parody of their friendship, where like, Brent Spiner's constantly jealous, and it's it's kind of back and forth. I have to admit, that's what popped into my head here,
Oh, that's great.
and it took a little bit away from the emotional gravitas of the moment, because all I could
Oh,
hear is like actual Brent Spiner grousing about how great, how successful LeVar Burton is.
hilarious.
I did have to laugh when Laura was going off on Data that, oh, you got all the love, and I'm like, hey, you were first, and they
That's
hated
right.
you, so they took
That's
you
true.
apart and made him.
I mean, it's what I love about the Laura thing is Laura's a quintessential narcissist.
Yes.
Nothing is
Yeah,
his fault. Everything's about aggrandizement, and
totally.
frequently narcissism develops in reaction to a lack of an affectionate foundation, right?
Do you think that that's because Soong like
I 100% I
realized
do.
his flaws? Yeah.
I think
Well,
soon. I think Laura Laura turned out to be more difficult, and
Get
Soong
more
I don't
real.
and Soong I don't really think was set up to deal with it. Like, I mean,
well,
that's pretty much what we saw in Brothers,
oh, it's been pretty well
Yeah.
established that Soon is a poor excuse for a father.
right?
Brilliant.
And I don't
Not
think anybody necessarily goes into parenthood knowing how hard it's going to be, but some people are willing to pull up their big boy britches and stick with it. And I don't think Soong did,
oh, definitely not.
Especially now that we know that there was a B4 as well, right? Like
right?
there
Well,
was there was
and there's 2
yeah.
others out there. Laura was one of 4 before Data.
So yeah,
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, there is an even more.
so I for sure think there's a fair amount of that sort of floating along, which is one of the reasons I find Lore to be
Oh, it's
such
all
a
chunky for
fascinating
me.
character. Because there's real pathos behind him. Yes, he's a dick. There's no getting around that, and he causes a tremendous amount of pain. But in this really kind of grand tradition of good villains, there's a reason for it.
Mhm.
And there's at least a small element of relatability there. And so I was really disappointed. I mean, I know you liked it, Manny, but I was really disappointed to see all of that sort of disappear into the ether. Yes, Data outthinks him. And yes, Data accepts that Lore is going to be part of him forever. But I needed more.
Yeah.
I needed more. Especially when we're trying to put this in this context of Data's offering up these pieces of himself to his brother, like metaphorically and literally. And we see the Tasha Yar holograph go away. We see the
And I'm hoping that is not
The
the only
pipe.
appearance of Denise Crosby we get this season.
I know, right?
Terry said she was in it, but not in a way you'd think. And if that's it, I'm not enough.
She deserves better. She deserves better. But anyway, and then I love that we end up ending with Spot, and Spot representing Data, that this creature taught him how to love in as much as he could,
Mhm.
which he
Especially
did.
especially how much Brett Spiner actually hated the cat. Too.
I know, right? I know. And I got to tell you that this particular version of Spot was looking a little rough.
Really?
Yeah. Like I'm not sure that this this might have been an older feline. I'm just saying.
Oh, and it was back to being a he again. So just forget that episode where.
Well, I mean, Spot managed to magically change from being, a cat that's closer to an Abyssinian to a tabby. So.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Spot 3.0.
Tabby, boy versus girl versus briefly an iguana.
Oh yeah.
Space iguana.
Yes.
It was a
great
space
episode.
Iguana, yes.
God, that was a terrible episode.
I loved it. The evolution one with the spider and shit. Oh
Genesis?
my god.
No.
So good.
Genesis was not Gates McFadden's strongest moment.
That's fine. They all get to have a mulligan.
Well, it's not like she wrote it. She just had to direct it.
Yeah, I know. She just had to direct it. And God bless her. She was trying real hard, but there was only so much she could do.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about horror in a minute.
Oh yeah.
So I just wanted more, and I felt like there should have been more attention paid. All of this show has been about nostalgia. Like this season has been about nostalgia.
Absolutely.
And if we're going to off permanently, apparently, one of the most iconic antagonists in TNG, I feel like we needed more than a fade away to nothing.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Lore.
I see.
He was only in 4 episodes. And it's kind of weird when you think that was only 4.
Yeah, but also think about how much actual screen time Louise Fletcher had as Kai Wynn.
Oh, yes.
I mean, she's in a fraction of Deep Space Nine, but she's so significant, so indelible.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Right. That, I mean, she is the villain. I mean, as well as Ducat.
Right.
But in some ways, though, I actually think Kai Wynn is worse.
Oh,
Kai Wynn, Vedic Wynn, Wynn Adami, pick your name.
Yeah. Well, just
you have lost that privilege.
The whole idea that she's supposed to be, to know that this person is supposed to be on your side, not only on your side, but fully supportive, and it's kind of.
And this is what makes Louise Fletcher great.
Oh yes,
absolutely. I mean, she comes to us from Nurse Ratched. She was in Flowers in the Attic. I mean, just this great history of villainous.
Yes,
he does make a great. Yeah, I mean, DS9 is the greatest Star Trek ever made. Just,
I mean, yes, I feel like that's clear.
Yeah.
But that dark, right? The hues of darker, the shades of darkness, like sort of the idea that like Star Trek can move into these spaces, which now they're rediscovering, right? Like now we're like, oh, people like to hate on the 2009 Star Trek because it's so shiny and there's so many lens flares and all this other stuff, whatever. And
lens flares are egregious.
I'm just saying, I blow past all that. Like it takes quite a bit for me to be put out of the story because I don't care. All I care about is the story. All I care about is how like they're moving this like universe forward. And yeah, maybe some actor or director, they flub things or it's not the way I like it, whatever. But to me, I'm like, I'm interested in the story. I'm interested in what they're creating next. So I agree with you that Lore was short. He didn't get his due. Yeah, short shrift. But like, I think it's first of all.
How do you talk about shrift given that Sunday is Easter?
Yeah.
Trove, right? Is the thing, right? I don't know. Pancakes and ash.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Passover and
Pancakes was a while ago. So was ash.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. This is how you're like. Why do you not know about Eid? Fair.
Yeah, no. Listen, I've lived in Christian country my whole life. I just knew that there was. I don't actually get it or know much about it. Like, to be perfectly honest, but I know enough to be respectful. I just don't know what those. Oh.
No, it's just really funny because that particular expression actually comes from a medieval word to shrive, which meant to confess and be forgiven.
Oh.
There's your useless tidbit of information for the day.
I will say that the data and lore thing is my last thing to cap it on. I thought that was a brilliant, back to the storytelling, a brilliant way for Data to subsume lore. Like
Yes.
I perfectly thought that like it was perfect TNG writing there. There was something where they had a problem and there was a creative, clever solution from Data where I thought back to the that game where he keeps making it even with the guy who the alien with the fingers and they
Oh,
play the game
Yeah.
strategy,
Yeah.
Strategema.
and they
Yeah.
keep going to
Strategy
stalemate
map.
and they keep going to stalemate. I'm like, that is the same sort of like way that I interpreted this. I'm like, that was brilliant strategy. The stratagem was brilliant.
Mhm.
You changed the win condition,
Right.
Right.
He
which is
didn't he
which is
played
fantastic.
to stalemate. Yeah. He
Yeah, he
knew.
changed the win condition, which is
Right.
which is a valid strategy and it's a winning strategy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what I love about, just to go back to this particular episode, what I love about this is we're taking Data, who was the traditional TNG outsider,
Mhm.
and now we're juxtaposing him with Jack, who is talking a lot about his feelings of isolation and
Mm,
that something is different, that he's not quite right in some
mm,
way. So we're seeing this really interesting sort of juxtaposition between Data's integration and Jack's disintegration
Yeah.
mm.
in the
Well,
more formal in the more formal definition of that term. I don't mean he's like ensign to bean, but
Mm.
he is a product of British boarding schools. So.
Yeah, but
Damn.
I think the whole point of this is that we're hinting that there's something alien inside of Jack that
Yes.
makes him, that sets him apart. I did like that we get this really quintessential changeling narrative from Vatic, though. She talks about isolation. She talks about lack of order.
Yeah. Very changeling.
And this is
They're
really
obsessed.
the first time we've seen something like that out of Vatic. And so she's using that language to talk to Jack. And so I'm sort of wondering maybe if there's a tie between the Ironic syndrome
Yes.
and
Or
the deformations.
whatever
Right.
that actually is. Yeah.
Well, I'm getting there.
Oh,
I'm getting there. And the Ironic syndrome, and possibly something that's sent out by whatever this entity is, that it's not actually a syndrome so much as, or a genetic syndrome, so much as it is the vestiges of something else.
Interesting. But how do you
This would
tie
be
that into the
your thing,
changeling?
Annie.
What? That's fair. The fact that they pulled out parts of the brain, I had read on the internet before this that people thought that they stole the body because they thought they want to bring back Locutus and it was a Borg thing. And when Vatic had Seven of Nine in the room with Jack, and she's like, "This is so fitting that you're about to see this," I'm like, "Oh no, some Borg popping Jack in the Box is about to be." That's what I thought in that moment. I'm like, "Why is it so fitting? Why is it so fitting?" And like that didn't come to fruition for me. Like I don't get that. Why did she say that? Does anyone have thoughts on that?
There's a lot of stuff that's kind of floating around in this episode that
Just
doesn't
gone.
really get resolved.
Are we going to talk about the errors in the episode?
Oh, we're getting there. I've been waiting for you.
Go for it,
I
man.
love it.
I've been waiting for you. I was like, I saw in the Discord that you were coming. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold this.
Hashtag join our Discord.
I mean, for real. But before we get there, I do want to talk about finish talking about the stuff that we've seen in the episode. I kind of want to wait until the last 10 minutes to cover all the random stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
I did like how they didn't ignore the fact that Raffi and Deanna have never met, but they knew they didn't have enough time to do a proper introduction, so just Raffi, Deanna. All right, let's go. Just
strange days.
I know that was so great. That is also vintage TNG, right? Because there's this sense of too much stuff is going on for us to do anything other than be like, all right, I have a name for you. Let's go fix this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Raffi just fits in well with this crew, which is surprising. But
because Michelle Hurd is just that amazing.
Yes.
Is really the answer there.
Yeah.
Well, that and she has a storyline that makes sense this season.
I know. I know. And she finally got to use her swords, by the way, guys.
Yes, she did.
Mm.
The question is, why did she have to? I mean, they were gunning down members of the Titan crew.
Last 10 minutes.
Dude, okay, no, I have a theory for that. I do. And that has everything to do with the fact that she's been hanging with Worf, and Worf's a bladey kind of guy.
Well, of course.
And, this is... Okay, I know we said last 10 minutes. I'm going to break off. This is actually one of the things that has irritated me the most about energy weapons in spaceship dramas and star dramas. Because you don't want to shoot anything that's going to puncture a hole in the only thing separating you from the vacuum.
Right.
Yeah.
It actually makes more sense to use bladed weapons in this context. Because you're less likely to kill yourself.
Right.
Yeah, but how do you anticipate that your enemy also has bladed weapons? This is shooting
because
you back.
Your enemy also doesn't want you to die. Doesn't want to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, and it's this obsession that we have with, new and shiny technology that, of course, we're going to have beam weapons. And we don't really think about, and we don't really think through this whole context, right? Of you're not going to shoot people on a submarine.
Right.
But
that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But didn't Voyager introduce the concept of auto-targeting and mass firing for compression phaser rifles as well as hand phasers, I believe?
That's entirely, I mean, you're probably right, but I also still don't necessarily think, okay, so yes, there's technobabble there. But what I love about this is that even then, you're still dealing with a stray shot could go through, could melt your hull.
Yeah. Well, just going back to the episode we were referring to earlier, when a torpedo was sent off and went off into the distance, and they had to send a shuttle to go find it in case it accidentally hit something. And that's why Data and Picard were off the ship when everyone devolved.
Right. And that made actual sense, because I can't tell you the number of times various navies have had to go off and find things that they have dropped.
Yeah. I've heard some of the broken arrow stories from the Air Force.
It's not even that. Yes. Yes.
Broken arrow or broken bow?
No, broken arrow.
Oh,
broken bow is
good
a place
reference.
in Broken Bow is it's a place in Oklahoma that we don't ever have to talk about again.
Why? It's great. The farmer with the shotgun. It's great.
Also, I've spent a lot of time in Oklahoma, and I've never seen that much corn.
Well,
that is very true.
We literally say wheat. Years.
We say wheat
Michael,
in our state song.
Oh my God,
Michael, you had some errors, man. You wanted to point out. Go ahead.
No. We have some more
6 minutes.
Okay.
We have some more time for that. We have some more time. Yeah, I know. With the corn's as high as an elephant's eye, and yet I have never seen that much corn in Oklahoma.
What do you think of Vatic liking the captain's chair?
I thought that was adorable.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice touch. I did love that, because I was like, everyone in every interview always geeks out about sitting in the captain's chair, but to kind of actually write that into the show, loved it.
I mean, let's all be real. 100% would sit in the captain's chair.
Yeah.
In fact, I have.
Oh, wow.
Because at New York Comic Con, before Discovery dropped officially, Paramount actually did a mock-up with a photo op where you could sit in Discovery's captain's chair, and it was the captain, and it was designed off the captain's chair that they used on set. If y'all think I didn't jump at that opportunity, you clearly don't know me.
Oh, I sat in the captain's chair at the original series tour in Ticonderoga. As soon as they get the Next Generation set built, I'm definitely going up there to sit on the.
We're gonna have to make a pilgrimage, and I use that term rather deliberately. Manny, you have to come to the U.S. so we can do this.
Yes,
I'm coming.
It's upstate New York, so it's not that far from Canada. So it's like dipping your toe into the.
Right, it's not that far, but also racist. So.
Yeah.
So now, how do we finish up? They're phasering down these changelings. The Shrike has been destroyed.
Okay.
And then
Vatic has been smashed against the hull.
and then we go, oh my God, Can we talk about that line before we go into like Michael's rant? Can we?
Yeah, please.
I sense something dark. I sense a darkness on this ship. I'm like, oh my god, what?
It's so hard to. I'm glad she didn't end up saying the dark side of the Force, because that would have.
I know, but I mean, between the detonator and that, I'm like, somebody's been watching a lot of old school Star Wars.
Yeah.
But like that was such a. My frustration with Troy has been that until very late in TNG's run, Troy basically existed as this MacGuffin barometer.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, some episodes her abilities worked. Some episodes they mysteriously didn't, and when they could have used them, very
right, and it would have made sense to use them in universe.
Right.
Like that's how you established that they worked, and then all of a sudden she's on the fritz. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or
with the exception of the episode in which she's legitimately on the fritz, and that was the point. That's not what I'm talking about.
But yeah, there were some episodes where it's like, Troy should have said something a while ago now, but she's just sitting there quietly. And like, did they forget that she existed this episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the
There's
Berman
only
principle.
so much time, guys. Oh no!
No. It's the Berman principle.
Yes.
Which is
Rick Berman, not a big fan of women.
Women are to be seen and not heard,
and preferably in cat suits.
Yes.
Damn.
Show off as much skin as possible. But then, of course, Gene wanted her to have 3 breasts at first, too. So,
whoa.
But that's when Denise Crosby was playing the role. So,
yeah.
Okay.
And to be fair, Picard has actually kind of fallen into those footsteps. It does not tend to deal well with its female characters, which is, Michael's point about Raffi having a sensical storyline is well taken. Ooh, look at you. I am underdressed to be in this podcast with you.
I know. I just got in. This is literally what I had to wear to work today. It was very disgusting to have to actually like put on a suit and be like, do my real job.
Yeah, we skipped spring here in DC. We didn't really have winter this year, and we're not having spring. We've gone straight to summer. It was 84 degrees and humid today.
I hate you both.
Do you see this impassioned glow? It is not a summer spritz, I tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, did you get
I was gonna say in the tradition of my people, you have a lovely glisten. Like while you are like apparently baking, it has dropped into the low 20s.
Fahrenheit.
Yes. And I'm trying to remember what that would be in Celsius for you, and I'm struggling.
That's below 0, no, right? Isn't 32 like 0?
Yeah.
You're below 0?
We are having hard freeze warnings. Like I have to leave my faucets running.
I'm in sweaty Bangkok.
We've had some weird days where it's been 80 degrees and then frost warnings overnight. But
that's great. I see that at home too in Hamilton. With the kids and stuff, they had like a snow day a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but also we expect snow in Canada.
Yeah.
We did not get We did not get enough snow to even consider a snow day this year in DC. So.
Yeah.
I don't think we got more than like an inch within actual like DC proper.
We
got more snow than you did.
Yeah.
By
California
a lot.
got more snow than we did.
Now,
where are our astrophysicists working on like weather? Like what?
I don't think that would be the right physicist, my friend.
So
I don't.
Oh, so what are they? Climatologists? Where are they? Where are they?
Crying because of global warming, actually. That's what's happening.
Defunded and reassigned to other agencies.
We do a bunch of cloud seeding in the UAE.
I was wondering why we didn't do that in California, but we probably didn't do it because it made sense.
Damn.
Yeah, no, that's United States environmental policy right there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Michael, we have 10 minutes before I get canceled.
No, we would never cancel you. But
No, you would not. But the internet is a very different place.
Because the internet.
The internet. Well, as the wayward co-host, and I'm calling myself the wayward co-host because I have not been here in, I think, almost a month.
I was literally going to let that slide. I was just going to roll my eyes and let it go.
You know. We'll see if I can come up with a new name or earn a new name while I'm talking about some of the mishaps that I caught in this episode of Picard.
Nice.
So, first, I was very upset with someone I am never, ever upset with. Geordie LaForge. Can we talk about how perfect of a character Geordie LaForge is? Like, he is literally the one.
Unless a woman's involved.
Oh, well, yeah. Very true. Very true. But he is literally the character when someone's like, I don't like Geordie LaForge. You're like, do you not like a nice summer breeze in the morning that just pushes across the room and wakes you up with the sound of birds? Like,
you not like joy?
I know, but I'm pretty solidly against double-headed woodpeckers, though.
But this episode, he said something about Data, and I was so pissed. He literally said Data's ethical protocols do not allow him to kill in any circumstance.
And
I'm like, pause a moment. Does he not remember when Data literally grabbed a whole Borg, choked him out, slammed him into a wall, and then did the same thing like 72 times in the holodeck?
Well, he was under Lore's partial control.
I was about to say, like, that's a Lore thing. That's not a Data thing. However, in the most toys,
yes,
that ethical subroutine did not necessarily prevent him, because I think he'd fired by the time the transporter interrupted.
Right.
Yep. Do we not, all the times that he's been in phaser fights, all of the times that, like, it didn't make sense. It was poor placement. And I mean, like, he could.
Yeah, but we needed to have a reason that Data would not automatically off his brother.
I mean, you could have added another line in there. You could have said something. I would have changed that line maybe to even say, I don't think Data would kill his brother. I don't think his subroutines would allow that.
Except we can't even say that, though, because we know that Data has been instrumental in, the dismantlement of Lore on a number of occasions.
But he didn't kill him. He deactivated him.
Yeah, in Descent Part 2, he pretty much said, I cannot kill him, but I can deactivate him. Which is like death. But
I was about to say, I mean, we are literally now splitting hairs. Yeah. I mean, because I don't know about y'all, but like disassembled death is one of those things that's like imprinted on my psyche.
Okay, Johnny 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is a creepy movie to go back and watch, by the way. Don't do it.
Yes, yeah. I have. And then, yeah.
I get you. But all right. So, apparently that one wasn't good enough. I'll accept it. Part 2. One of my favorite characters for all of his growth and development across Deep Space Nine was Odo. He really, God, take a moment.
R.I.P. Rene Aubergenois.
Thank you.
I know, you're like, how do I say this?
No, I really, in all
honesty, Rene Aubergenois.
But you know what really happened? I just couldn't remember the name. I get so focused on like the character, I actually forget there are actors behind them. But anyway, so Odo had an amazing story, an amazing arc. And if you remember in season 7, we met one of his fellow 100.
Loss.
And how did we meet Loss? Loss was literally some multi-tentacled being floating around in space that was like, you know what? I'm going to find an exhaust port.
I knew this was going to piss you off when she froze. I knew.
I'm like, since when do changelings freeze, crack open in space, and not just convert into something else?
because of the experiments that were done on her by Section 31.
I'm pretty comfortable watching like Vatic explode into Vatic sickles though.
Yeah.
I loved how it happened, but it just didn't make sense in terms of what we have already seen in other episodes. And I won't even say the C word because I don't want anybody to like blow up our comments later on, but hashtag please blow up our comments.
Yeah.
But I think Keith's right. Because she's different. Her physiology is different.
Yeah, they established last episode that she is not like other changelings. That they have made essential changes to her ability. I mean, she can stay in that shape for longer, and she's obviously comfortable in it. So,
And she can turn other changelings into that.
I didn't get that sense. I think those were all individuals that were that came out of Daystrom.
No, she said that she converted all of them into it.
Oh, my bad. I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Mea culpa. Mea culpa.
No, all good.
But I heard that, I realized they just stole Caesar's background from the new Planet of the Apes movies.
I just find it hard to believe that.
I love Maddie's skeptical look there.
I find it hard to believe that these experiments would allow you to withstand the heat of a freaking phaser, but not allow you to withstand the colds of space. When the species that you came from was
container, but yeah, he wasn't being.
He was chilling in space. Yeah,
I don't think he was in a container.
I thought.
I don't think he was.
Like
this will be a discussion for Memory Alpha later.
Yeah.
Thank you. Geordie LaForge, Odo. Oh, and this isn't necessarily a mistake. I just more so didn't like it.
Michael, you've been called out.
Same thing. Wait, we gotta fix this. Like, wait, Andrew, join me in writing a letter.
Oh my God! Are you about to turn into a Karen? Because we're gonna have to pull you back.
Or maybe you can send a telegram.
I mean,
right.
you don't have the hair.
How's your Morse code?
I need to talk to your manager haircut. But like, be careful.
Like, join me in writing a letter. We need this. This needs to be stopped. It's
not like they're gonna do it again next week.
We'll have more errors. I guarantee you that. I don't know. We need to bring some writers over from Prodigy. And we can yeah, but we'll get there. No, can you hear me?
No, I think Keith is commenting that he's frozen.
Sorry,
there you go.
And then my last error was, this isn't necessarily an error. I think it's a bit of a plot hole. How the hell, where did Raffi and Worf come from?
Good point. The shuttle. Emerson.
They showed the shuttle.
Yeah, they showed the shuttle. But where were they? Like, where were they?
On the way.
I mean, space travel takes time, despite what J.J. Abrams would tell you.
They sent them out to do something. I can't remember what it was 2 weeks ago. But yeah.
No, I mean, there's a legitimate reason for them to have taken time. And the problem is that they didn't remind us. Like,
is that what it is?
It's really,
yeah.
It's really weird how they'll do this because, like, they'll remind and be like, so, back at that time in, Encounter at Farpoint when you couldn't whistle, and we're going to show you footage from that episode just in case you didn't remember. Mm-hmm. But then we'll completely forget about, like, the whole, BT Dubs, we were out doing something important. Or BT Dubs, we have a random daughter that's floating out in space somewhere.
Wait,
I'm still on the whole Kestra thing. Yeah,
was that it for Eris?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kestra's doing stuff.
Apparently,
what was the Kestra thing? I missed that.
Well, she's just, who's watching Kestra? Like, she's 15.
Like, on a planet that no one wants to be on.
Right. Surrounded by screaming, screeching double-headed
in a house designed by space hippies.
Right. Like, so what's going on? So what the hell's going on with Castro? Apparently Terry Metalis has said that she's an early admission to Starfleet Academy, and that's where she is. And they were going to add a line to that effect in the episode, but they decided it sounded stupid. So, like, apparently it's less stupid to leave us wondering what the hell this teenager's doing on her own.
I was about to say, providing background and actual story plot and setting up an upcoming series, that is terrible idea. That is a terrible idea. Andrew, get your pen. We need to write this letter.
Michael, you're going to give me the vapors. You're going to give me the vapors. Man, I have been so much more Southern on this episode than I have ever before.
Like, and don't get me wrong. I thought this was a good episode. It was a great, I won't call it a filler episode. I thought it was a really good bridge episode to get us to this big finale that we're expecting. I
too have expected grand finales and been disappointed.
Yeah.
I've had those dates.
But if I will say this, I will probably cry if at some point
I'm gonna need footage.
You know, listen, probably if at some point
I'm gonna need footage.
If I do not hear the words Bejor, I am going to cry. Because
also,
we gotta.
Is anybody else vaguely concerned about what the name of the title of the last episode is? The Last Generation?
Yeah.
I am not prepared. Like, I have this real fear that we're going to get like another apotheosis for Jack, the same way we got for Wesley, and Beverly's going to be left with no kids. I'm not ready for that to happen. Yeah. Is that Bailey, by the way, that I'm hearing?
Yes, she always decides to eat like as soon as I get on, like sit here. She's like, "Oh yeah, perfect. Let me come and eat right next to him." So I'm going to mute.
Right. So she's like a German short-haired pointer, right?
She is an American foxhound.
American foxhound. Still a large enough breed that like eating is a thing.
24 hours a day.
Yeah. Because I was like, what the hell am I hearing?
Yeah.
I was hoping that since I had on headphones, it wasn't like being picked up, but clearly,
Clearly,
Apple was like, let's make these ultra sensitive.
You know, and I gotta tell you, my cats are very, very concerned. Which is hilarious because Maddie is less a cat and more a bowling ball with feet. So, like, for her to have any sort of like reaction is amazing.
Well, we will now call Bailey the exercise dog. She's gets felines to exercise. I support it.
I don't really want my cat dead. I'm not keen. All right, so we've covered sort of generally like the plot. We've talked a little bit about like where we think this is going to go, and you know, if we have concerns. Do we have any final thoughts to wrap it up?
I would just say
is Keith frozen for anybody else and like the world's most awkward smile?
Yes, he is very much frozen in the world's most awkward smile.
Yeah.
Sorry, Keith. I love you, but yeah.
So I would say this is more so just to a projection. I really think that there's a Pa Wraith mix here that's coming forward. And, you know, I just feel like she is just going to town on the water, on the food, on the everything. So we're going to come over here.
Oh, wait, your dog is the Pa Wraith. Okay. Like, I was really concerned that you were going to tell me that Jack was a Pa Wraith, in which case I was going to be like, I don't even know.
A lot of people have been thinking that because of the red eyes.
I know.
Mm.
Yes. And when I saw it, I was like, they can't bring back the Pa Wraiths because, you know, we expelled them from the Celestial Temple. But then I was like, we expelled them. So they had to go somewhere. But also
Cisco set them on fire.
No,
they loved fire.
They had already been expelled. This was, but yeah, they were
but Cisco was like legitimately like, "Thou shalt not, you shall not pass."
It could be Gul Dukat coming back. I think that's the face, right? Isn't that what some people would say?
Please, God, don't. No.
Markalemo?
Not ready for it.
No.
It is interesting.
I am really content with Gul Dukat being fried forever in hell.
Yes. down in the fire pits of Bejor.
And you were late. I see your lips moving, but you're on mute, my dude.
I'm sorry. I was like, do you all see what I'm dealing with here?
Yes, I
She
see the
is-
giant dog.
She is literally like, what are you doing? Why are you walking away from me? And she's probably also wondering, why is this guy awkwardly smiling? Is it for me? Should I love him?
Yeah, we're killing it. We're just killing it.
And we're
All right, so Jack is a Pyrwraith, which is on the list.
and we gotta make a
I'm
trip to
wondering if
Bajor.
there's some preserver bullshit about to flow around, right? Like with the whole like Irumodic syndrome.
Well,
Yeah.
we have a couple.
And I don't mean preservers specifically, but like the idea that something out there has like tossed something that's become incorporated into your genetic makeup.
We have a couple story threads that are dangling from previous episodes that we expect to pay off at some point too. Like, what is in the mysterious Hangar 12 at the Fleet Museum? That they kind of, Alondra started to say something, and Geordi was like, "Shh." Yeah.
I legit have got to
Interesting.
confess I'd forgotten about that.
And there was in one of the trailers a scene of Geordi piloting a shuttle with all of the Next Generation crew, and coming like, there she is, and like taking them to see something, which has led a lot of people to believe that he's got the saucer section of the D hidden in Hangar 12, and that's.
I love Trek nerds.
Yeah,
I do.
Cool.
Where is that sausage section gonna go on impulse engines alone?
Well, it's not gonna have to go engines alone. They gonna tow that shit.
Yeah, they towed it.
Wow.
They could rebuild it. We have the technology.
We can.
Sorry.
They went.
I have been on the phone with my mom a lot. Like, she was recently diagnosed with cancer, so I've been talking to my mom a lot, and that just brings the accent out.
But yeah, they went to Viridian 3, and they got Kirk's body, and they pulled up the saucer section of the D and took him to the Fleet Museum. Well,
does anybody else want to know what's hanging around in Kirk's body that he needed to be in Daystrom? Like, if there's something weird and alien floating around in Picard's corpse, like, what's in Kirk's?
Well, and plus, if I've gone back and saw that when Moriarty started shooting at them, one of the displays he shot out was for Archer's body. Apparently, Archer is there at Section 31.
What?
Section 2. Yes.
Wow.
There's so many corpses in this season.
Yeah.
So it's like we think you're a pretty
Yeah,
good
that was the
captain.
first one
Save
they
your
stopped
body.
at. Said Archer.
Study the DNA.
Or you're an Enterprise captain of note. So, yeah.
Yeah, but why Daystrom? Like, why a black site? Like, why wouldn't you why wouldn't you pull like a Lenin or a Mao?
Yeah.
Yeah, must destroy capitalism. Here comes that.
Bien fait, hein? Bien fait, mon ami.
So next week's episode is called Vox.
So
like Vox Populi?
Yeah.
I was gonna say Vox Machina.
Also, yes, the voice of the machine, the voice of the people.
So it's that face voice. That's what the red door is, and we're gonna finally figure out the face thing and the voices. And Jack said, but okay. So beyond the speculation that there's a power wraith or whatever in him, like the powers that he's manifested is almost like his Katra's jumping, or like his consciousness is jumping. He takes over like the actual mechanical structure of a body. And
I'm not gonna lie, I did think about Katras.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, but like with the glowing red. Like, have we ever seen in Star Trek something similar to this power? Anything?
Well,
are they throwing it back to us? Is this new?
So we definitely have different types of telepaths. For example, there's that terrible episode that does not get mentioned where they would pull you into terrible memories.
Oh yeah, with the people who have the stuff on the side of their heads.
What's this?
It's the mind rape episode.
It's one of the many Deanna must suffer episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm sure I'm gonna get like us banned for that, but that's what the episode is about.
Oh yeah, it is.
And they don't do a great job with it.
It's the same plot as B'Elanna.
Yes.
Yes.
We also have the species that in Dark Page. We have, as you mentioned, the Enterprise episodes involving Katras, where Archer gets to talk to Surak.
Yes.
I don't think we've really ever seen a telepathic takeover in quite the same sense, though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I may be
because
wrong.
they're kind of sharing a consciousness.
It's not even that they're sharing a concert. They're not even sharing a consciousness. I take that back. TNG had the one with the xenophobic energy-based aliens.
Yes.
Another Deanna Troi episode, as it happens.
Yes.
Yeah, Marie just grabbed. I was trying to say, wait, the original series. I can't get nothing tonight.
or of course this could also original series Wolf in the Fold.
Yes.
Red Jack.
Yeah. When Scotty commits murder.
Yes.
Yes. So it's entirely possible that that's floating around as well. Because remember, Red Jack was like also on Earth as Jack the Ripper. Or heck, I mean, we've also seen it with what's that Enterprise episode with the virus and the alien the observer effect is what it's called. That's what it is.
Oh, is that the one with the Organians?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's that plot?
The Organians take over Travis and
Merriweather originally.
Oh, Travis is Merriweather.
Oh, I'm sorry. Reed.
Reed, yes.
Yes. The silicon-based virus.
And they completely take over. And they also take over corpses, as I recall.
Right.
There's a lot of things this could be. But how does it relate to changelings, right?
Yeah.
I think it is new.
Well, we know at least
because it has to do with the Aromatic syndrome.
Well,
if we get into another next evolution, I'm just done.
And we know one of the
Stay with us, Marie. Stay with us.
Will be on again because Tim Russ did say last week that he's done 2 episodes this season. So we saw the 1 episode last week.
I need more Tuvok in my life.
Yes,
we all do.
We all do.
I need more Tuvok, and I mean, I'm reasonably certain we're not going to see Kate Mulgrew in this, but I really wish we would.
It's still possible.
We're gonna see her.
I really wish we would.
She's saying no, but yeah.
We're gonna see her. We're gonna see her. They've referenced her like 7 times.
Yes.
We're gonna see her.
I know. And it would just be really nice to see that reunion between 7 of 9 and Janeway.
Yeah. We had it in the comics.
Hey, Paramount, pay attention.
Yep.
We know you're advocating for a Star Trek legacy, right? And
yes,
they want to.
And Terry Matalas did an interview yesterday for First Contact Day, and he kind of gamed out what he thought legacy would be, and kind of gave away who survives at the end of the season.
Interesting.
No spoilers.
I'm not saying it. But
although I am concerned about the title, The Last Generation, like I'm not ready. Yeah. I'm not ready to lose. I can't lose Data again, guys. Like, no, stop.
Yeah, but we need to move on to the legacy of Voyager and DS9. That needs to be fleshed out. Thank goodness for TNG. Wrap it up. Put a bow on it. Stick it under the tree. Give me DS9. Give me some Cisco.
Which is why I'm
dude, you are bringing shame to your Canadian roots by being mean about this.
This goes back in the comics, so.
But no, I agree. I would like to see more. I would like to see. I mean, if Sarah Lofton were open, I'd like to see where Jake is.
Yeah. And we know he's been podcasting. He went to the premiere because we know that was his first time meeting Will Wheaton.
That's true.
Yeah, I saw that.
And also, like, I mean,
y'all just
as a mother, this bugs me because, like, is Wesley Crusher just not visiting his mama?
No, she's not.
Busy. Too busy to call? You can't call your own mother?
I gotta tell you guys, like, if you're out there and you haven't called your mom, just do it. Just right now.
He's busy following the U.S. relativity around, trying to figure out how to be relevant.
No, he, in the Star Trek 400 comic that came out a few months ago, he wrote a section of him going to visit Picard at the chateau that falls right before his scene in season 2 of Picard. So right before he goes
Really?
to get Corey, in which he is retiring from being a traveler, and that Corey is going to be his replacement. So there's this idea that Wesley is now no longer going to be traveling.
I gotta tell you, Wesley's not that much older than I am, and the concept of me retiring right now, like, just breaks my brain. Shut up,
Yeah.
Michael. just shut up.
Marie, you and I are
You
the
are
same
not
age,
William.
so-
You are not William. You do not get to do this.
Yeah, Marie, you and I are the same age, and yeah, definitely. I mean, he's older than Patrick Stewart was in the first seasons of Next Generation.
Which also breaks my brain.
Yes. Well, Patrick Stewart just has looked old for 50 years. So.
Please don't insult Patrick Stewart. I'm not ready for that hate.
I'm not.
All right.
It's
We
not
are
Patrick Stewart.
15 minutes over the hour. I have been bad, and somewhere Jermaine is twitching.
I literally just typed if we're going to get in trouble. You know, Jermaine is going to come after all of us.
Well, they left me to run this by myself. It's their own fault. It's their own fault.
I want
That's
to
all I'm
say,
gonna
First Contact Day was disappointing. They ended up not having any big announcements. They put out posters for Strange New World Season 2, but no announcements of any sort. We got the new Deep Space Nine comic came out this week. The Dog of War, in which everybody on Deep Space Nine gets a dog. Yes, it takes place before Jadzia dies. As you can see, she's on the cover. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually haven't read the issue yet, but
but you clearly own it. But it's one of those and you traumatized Manny so badly he went away.
Well, I picked it up this
Ran.
afternoon and haven't had a chance to read it yet. So.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
But sort of generally, like, as a wrap up, like, what do we feel about the episode? Where do we think we're going to go for the last 2 episodes of the season? Because we know we're going to get a 2-parter with a cliffhanger in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, we have been promised certain shots and trailers that we know we have yet to see. We've yet to see the Enterprise F. We have all the shots and the trailers we saw of Frontier Day with fireworks and all these other ships we have yet to see. And of course, Geordi taking the crew to see something we have yet to see.
If that ends up being a post-credit sequence, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah. The one idea I saw bandied about was maybe they all go to the Fleet Museum and because all the ships talk to each other now, as they let it be known in the Bounty, but maybe they go and dig out all those ships from the Fleet Museum and like everybody takes a ship and uses it to go try to keep Fleet Frontier Day from whatever is going to happen from happening. They've given us hints of something, but damned if I don't figure out what it is.
Fair enough. I am not going to ask for ratings because I think that's dumb. I know that makes Michael twitch.
As he is muted and turned off his cam.
I know, right? Like, he's just like, I'm going to go hide with the dog. So everybody, certainly thank you to all of the viewers. It's been certainly great to see like those numbers go up. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you'd like to see, because we are going to come up on a hiatus. Yep. So we are taking suggestions, obviously, for content, because God knows we need the help. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and, doing this. And yeah, I hope everybody has enjoyed it. And I guess same bat time, same bat channel. Here's hoping that we get some questions answered, because at this point I'm like, stop edging me. Seriously. All right. Any other comments?
Don't you just love my new name?
All right, scholar.
Oh my God. All right.
Happy Passover, happy Easter.
For my own sanity, beautiful bean footage, guys.
not gonna ever say it on the internet. Yeah, never. yeah. I was
I'm sorry. Wait. There was a shadow of a church.
Okay. What?
William has questionable
I didn't
ideas
catch
about
that
what he
one.
puts.
I didn't
William
catch
has
that
questionable ideas about what he puts on the internet.
Oh, I remember that episode.
Uh-huh.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Wait, what?